Okay, Charlotte Reed, welcome to the, whoa, earthquake. Welcome to the ranch. I wanted to share with you an energy technique that my friend Shelley, my mentor, and a wonderful healer, Shelley, helped me with as I was on the airplane flying. This one would have been flying from, where were we? Anaheim to, well, it went to Vegas and then to Salt Lake. Anyway, that was one of the worst plane rides of my whole entire life. Not that I've been on a ton of airplanes, but I've been on a few, and this one was like horrible. We could tell even before we got on the plane, you could just feel that heavy energy. Plus, it doesn't help when not the flight stewardess, but the lady that's, you know, you scan your ticket before you walk down the thing to get on the plane. That lady, she was on the intercom saying, "This plane is so heavy, you people are gonna have to check your bag," and we're just going off about how heavy the plane was. And we're like, oh my gosh, some of the things that you don't say before people get on a plane is the word heavy. Okay, heavy and airplane, let's not do that together. So anyway, we could feel the heaviness and we could feel the heavy energy when we got on that plane. Plus, the minute we got on, it's usually one of those happy airplanes that the guys are like, woohoo, and they joke and they have a good time, right? No one was smiling. It was all like danger. You could just feel the danger, like, oh my gosh, something's wrong. So we looked at each other, we're like, ooh, what's going on? So we just asked for a special love and light, and we prayed, and we asked angels to help us, because it was like we wanted to live, you know, on the airplane, flying. So anyway, we were okay, but my stress level was a little bit high, just from other things and rushing from the, you know, the hotel and the convention to the airport and stuff, and the crazy ride there. I usually love Uber rides, but that guy was a little bit scary. So anyway, we got there, we're fine, get in the airplane, finally I can like calm down and de-stress, right? Only my stress level just kept rising, because the plane got off the ground after much problems. Anyway, got up in the air, and then it was going along, but then we got to this turbulence, and it was just this rough ride, and we're all like, you know, which normally wouldn't have bothered me, but where I was already, my stress level was already kind of high. I was like, oh my gosh, this is not good. And we hadn't eaten lunch, and it was like, well, so, you know, we had eaten lunch, but it was kind of gross for me, and I hadn't eaten supper, and so I've gone a long time without food, and I don't do well without food. And so anyway, this was just adding up. And so as I'm sitting in my seat going, oh my gosh, my stress level is rising, I feel like I could barf, I can't breathe, like there's too much people, I'm claustrophobic, all this is just kind of adding up, right? So I'm focusing on my breathing, and I didn't take out my oils though, because I'm like, I didn't really want to, you know, have everybody smell everything, right? So I'm just focusing on my breathing. I did a little tapping, but it's not quite cutting it. And so I'm like, what is going on? This is weird. You know, usually I can control stuff and I can, you know, clear those emotions and get myself down to centered and grounded. But I couldn't right then. And Shelley, right next to me, she noticed that. The other person next to me had gone to sleep. And I'm like, how can you sleep during this, like, chaos? And it was, like, stinky, and we couldn't breathe, and it was bumpy, and we were like, ah, we're gonna... No. Anyway, don't think those thoughts. So anyway, Shelley noticed this, that I was having a hard time, and she could just see, and so she said, you know, basically kind of can I help? And I'm like, yeah. So she walked me through an emotional technique that I had never done before, which I kind of incorporated little different pieces of it, but the way she put it together was perfect. And she told me later the method of this healing course, and it's fabulous. I love it. So the funny thing is, I have the book that this is in, but I haven't read it yet. Like, I have this pile of books to read, but I haven't got to it yet. So that could have saved me, right? So thankfully, she knows this book, she knows the course and this technique. So here's what she did for me. So she said, okay, place your hands on your heart, take a deep breath, and go to a happy place. Go to your happy place where you're calm and serene. So I picked down from our house here, down by the river, where the grass is tall and the trees and the willows, and it's just calm and serene, and the river's flowing so soft and peacefully. Okay, that's what I picked, my happy spot at the moment. And then she said, okay, now you're going to take all this frustration and anger, and first we tested to see what my stress level was. It was 11. That doesn't happen for me, like, ever, right? I mean, like, if I hit a 10, it's crazy. So I was at 11, so I'm like, oh my gosh, this is out of control. I was in a really dark, heavy, bad, emotionally anxious, whatever place. So, deep breath, and then I usually just breathe out and expel it that way, but she said, no, breathe it like this. And you do 3 short, sharp, deep breaths, like the to really expel the venom, expel the toxins, get rid of that junk and the deep down energy and emotions, right? So that's what I did. And we did that for a few times, probably about, 3 or 4 or 5 repetitions of the 3 breaths, until I'm like, ooh, almost lightheaded. Breathing deep, holding, and you have to really get down and deep. And I felt hilarious doing it. So on a couple of times I did it, and I'm like, I always started laughing, because I'm like, this is funny. It is, it's hilarious. I felt like an idiot, but whatever, whatever. I needed something to help right then. So I did the deep breathing, and then she had me picture sitting in my happy place with the Savior. And right at that moment, it brought in such peace and love. And I could feel the emotions just start coming up. And then she asked, she said a couple other things, but then she basically asked, okay, this is a trigger from what event in your past? Like, what does this go back to? Think back in your past, in your history. And it happened sometime in my youth. She says, this can even happen in, early childhood, in utero and beyond. So this is hilarious that I didn't even know of anything, that was bothering me. But for some reason, that moment on the plane had triggered something when I was super young and didn't even know or remember it. And I can just remember those feelings of lack of oxygen, gonna vomit, pain, stress, anxiety, trauma kind of thing. And I mean, not like trauma like most people think, but for me right then, that felt traumatic. So, thought to that instant, and immediately once I recognized that moment, the tears of release and joy just started streaming down my face, and the love and compassion for, for my family, for myself, and for, Shelley, just overwhelming gratitude. And I let go of that junk that was clogging me up, and let it go. And literally after, this is probably about just a few minutes of breathing, and then that thought of remembering that time, my stress level had gone from 11 down to, I don't know, was that 5? Anyway, so then we did some more deep breathing, some more picturing and focusing our energies and going to the happy place, and it brought it down to a 3. And then we did a cool thing about focusing the energy. And usually when I do energy, when I think about energy healing, I use the palm of my hand, which has the most energy coming out. Usually I use the palm of my hand, but this time she had me center it and send that energy from my palm through my fingertips, which I hadn't really, I've tried to do a couple times, but I'm like, I didn't really feel any power in it. But this time she says, oh yeah, you can get more power out of your fingertips than just the palms of your hands. So focus that energy, send it to the fingertips. And then she had me place my fingertips at different points on my head and my throat, and it was super fascinating. Okay. And then I was supposed to repeat it, okay, and place it different places, and send the energy there for just a few minutes while I did deep breathing. And as I would place them here, I would do deep breath, and then I could feel that energy shift. And as it would shift, we'd move to a next spot, and it would shift. And we kept doing that until we got to the end, and then I had felt like really that all of that stuff just came up and out and gone. And it was amazing. So for you, to walk you through this, it's going to have to take another actual video of explaining this technique. But then again, Shelley was like, it's kind of proprietary, I don't know if we should really share it. So I'm kind of hesitant, which is sad, because I feel like this is a healing technique that needs to be available to the masses. But instead, perhaps we ought to just go buy the book. The book is the Healing Codes. Simple like that, right? So anyway, the first and easiest thing we can all do is just the deep breathe. Put your hand on your heart, listen to your body, listen to your emotions, do some deep breathing, go to the happy place. Okay, picture you there by your Savior, getting a hug if you need to. Maybe your Father in heaven is there. Get a hug. Okay, and that can be such a big help immediately for so many people. So try that, and then we'll do more in another video about the rest of it. Okay, literally when that was done, my stress level had gone from the 11 down to like a 2 or 3, and when I got off that plane, we were so grateful. We said such prayers of gratitude because we felt the power of those angels helping us on that flight. It was that scary. But it was so good that we got on the ground and we felt such love and gratitude, and we sent that out, and felt so good. I literally was like bouncing when I got off the plane. I was in a completely different place, and I was happy and life was good, and I was so grounded, and I felt so blessed. So I wanted to share that with you, and hopefully you can find some peace, love, and light when you do some deep breathing and go to your happy place. Okay, this is Charlotte Reed from the ranch, sending you love, light, and happy, positive feelings. Okay, love you, bye-bye.